I'm so honored to be here with you all. And there may be a few more people joining, so I might be needing to just keep an eye on the waiting room. But we're going to get started. And today we're going to focus on how we can live our legacy now. So often, the essence of legacy has been of what people are going to leave behind. What is it that I'm going to leave behind for the next generation, or what will my lasting imprint on the world be? And so it's more looking towards kind of a future focus of then your past, kind of like leaving your past behind. And a couple of years ago, the energy of legacy started to kind of co-create with me, and it started to come into my life in this way of like, oh, legacy, there's this kind of pulse, this essence, this consciousness that's wanting to express itself and wanting to teach me a thing or two about life. And so a couple years ago, I started I actually, unbeknownst to myself, the legacy program. And I was the first student. I was the guinea pig, as I tend to like to be. And the last 2 years has been this exploration on really living my life to its fullest and allowing myself to show up and be in ownership of my true self and to show up authentically. And some days that's super easy and fun and inspiring. And other days it was really, really asking me to go into some uncomfortable places and to be bold and to be brave and to be courageous and to take a look at what might not be working in life, what might be things that are out of alignment or not authentic. And so, like I said, this journey began, and it's been the last couple of years unfolding. And then as I started to make my way to the completion of the journey, as far as being the student of it, I was very moved to be able to share this body of wisdom that has been coming through with others. And that tends to be how I share in my life's purpose, is the things that inspire me, that touch me, that warm my heart, that lead to ahas and a deeper sense of connection to life and to joy and to love. I can't wait to share it with other people. I have to sometimes curb my enthusiasm and take it down a notch and really just enjoy it myself first, and then allow for it to come forward in its most authentic form when the time is right. And so the time is right, and you are actually the first people outside of our experiential group that's going through it right now, that is getting a taste of what it is and how it might be able to be of service in your life. And so we're going to go through today. We have an hour together, so I'm going to make the best use of time that I can. We're going to do a experiential exercise because legacy is so experiential. The program itself is all about you awakening within yourself, your own heroes or heroine journey, that beautiful model that we get from Joseph Campbell of being able to embark on our soul's journey and be able to really take ownership of that lead role as the hero, as the heroine in that story. And so today I want to be able to give you a taste of that experientially, of like, where are you right now in your life? And then maybe be able to start to ask some of the questions of where it is that you would like to be, or how you more accurately, even than like where we want to be, is what we want to experience, what we want to feel. The navigation of this beautiful incarnation. We're divine beings having this human experience, and what is it that we want to experience on a deep heart and soul level. And so we're going to go into that today, again, through each one of us, because that's how I find we are most inspired to make impactful change in our life and in a world in need, is through our personal experience with it. So I will be sharing today some of the wisdom that has come through, but this is not meant to be like a lecture where you just have one flow of energy. We want a reciprocity that's going between all of us that are here today, and be able to have that experience together as a community. So having said that, I would like to begin by just having a gentle check-in. So if you feel comfortable, kind of clearing your space, closing your eyes and being really present, then I invite you to do that. Otherwise, you can just kind of listen and follow along. And as we close our eyes to the outer world, we give ourselves the opportunity to really tune into the inner workings within ourselves. We get in touch with our hearts and our souls on a much more clear level. So just take a moment and show up here and now the way that feels best for you. Letting the breath move through the body easily and effortlessly. Feeling that inhalation and exhalation and how they move together in that energy of giving and receiving. And as we begin to quiet the chatter that can start to take place in the mind, as we begin to come into the quieter levels, we start to listen. And as we listen, we may start to hear the intuitive messages of the wisdom within. So as we are moving into this experiential practice together, into this meditation, I'm going to invite you to empty out, to let go, to surrender. And this could be the thoughts, this could be expectation, whatever it is, you're just allowing yourself to let go. And through our breath, we have the opportunity every breath cycle to feel what that is, that letting go through the exhalation. That helps us to connect to that emptying out right before we fill back up. And so as you're getting more deeper connected to your breath, and to this inflow and outflow, we're going to ask a few questions here together. And we're not searching for answers. We're not expecting them. And we're certainly not pretending we have all the answers. In fact, good questions lead to more questions. And so don't feel like you need to know right this moment, but we are planting seeds. And our true answers will come when they're ready. And so we're checking in and we're seeing how we feel. And we're just going to do some very, very broad strokes right now. And the first is, how am I feeling in my life right now, physically? We're going to start in the densest realm, the physical. How am I feeling in my body, in my skin, in my temple? We're just approaching this with an innocent curiosity. We're not here to judge ourselves or others or fix or expect. We're just inquiring, how do I feel right now? My physical body, my physical experience. We're not going to take too long here. Right now, we're just going to add a scale to that. 0 is I'm very out of touch with my body, or it's maybe experiencing a great deal of illness. Okay, and 10 would be I'm intimately connected. I feel vibrant. I feel vital energy coursing through me. I nourish myself with that which serves my highest and best good. Right? So it's a scale of 0, we're like flatlining, and 10 is, I'm in perfect health. So just again, we're not here to judge, but we are here to shine light, to illuminate. Where am I on that scale? And now let's make our way into the mental realm. How am I feeling in my mind? And I don't necessarily mean right at this moment, but I do mean in this moment of your life. So in this part of your life experience. So that might include the last, 3 months or so, if you will. How am I feeling mentally, in my mental center, in my mental health? And just before you go to the scale part of it, of the 0 to 10, first just feel into it. As you ask the question, just see what comes. In the mental center, it houses expressions of this that come into an emotional state, which are energies of depression or anxiety. And so I just want you to also tap into that. How have I been feeling around some of the mental states? And this is the bridge that we'll go into next, which is the emotions. But have you been experiencing any anxiety, any fear? Have you been experiencing any depression, suppression, sadness? And again, this is part of the mental construct. So we're just tapping in and just seeing, is there any anxiety? Is there any depression that I'm experiencing? And then go ahead and use that scale again. 0 is maybe the mind is in control, it's overrunning everything. And then 10 would be you've got the Buddha mind, or no problem turning that switch off of thoughts and going deep into the quiet and the stillness. That you can set your mind wherever you'd like it to be, and it creates from that place. So just see where you are, 0 to 10. And then moving into the emotions, as you see, there's overlap, as we just spoke about some of the emotional health. But how are you feeling in your emotional body? Are you connected with do you know how you're feeling? Can you hold the space for how you're feeling at any given time? So again, just exploring, how am I feeling emotionally in my life right now? And this is not oh, I feel good or I feel bad. This is how connected am I to my emotional essence. And then go ahead and visit that scale again, 0 to 10. In this area of the spectrum that is the emotions. And then we're going to go into, from here, into spirit. You can call this whatever feels most authentic to you, but into your spiritual well-being. How are you feeling in your life right now? In your connection, your deeper connection? then again, visiting that sliding scale, 0 to 10, how you're feeling, how nourished, how connected do you feel spiritually right now in your life? And now I invite you to take a few deep breaths, inhaling through the nose, exhaling, maybe even just sighing out through your mouth, really letting go, letting the energy flow. And we're going to move into, with this beautiful breath moving through us, the final 3 questions. And I invite you once again to just be in that place of innocent curiosity. We don't need tangible answers, but we are asking the questions. And so the first question is, who am I? Who am I? And the next question, what do I want? What are my intentions? Again, the what do I want can be, what do I want to experience? What do I want to feel? What do I want to know? At the deepest level, what do I want? And the last question, what is my purpose? What is my purpose? And once again, just allowing for some nice deep breaths to move to you and through you. I'm going to invite you gently from this internal experiential state back into our space together. And if you have a pen and paper, if you have a journal, I would invite you to just write down maybe a few little trinkets from that internal process. Again, this is inquiry. We're not here forcing answers or solutions. We're letting go of any preconceived notions, and we're allowing ourselves to experience what it feels like to come inside and to ask questions of the wisdom within us. And so if you want to write down, maybe if you did get some clear numbers on how you were feeling physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, you could write those down. If you received some inspiration, some wisdom, if you received some more questions, you can write those down, whatever it is. There's no right or wrong, but just giving yourself a couple minutes here to just be able to write down whatever you've experienced. And then for those of you that are tech savvy or know how to use the chat function and feel like sharing, I'd love it if we could just put down some of your numbers, that if you got any numbers, you could just share them in the chat. Like you could be like Shannon could be like, oh, physically I'm at a 7, mentally this, emotionally this, spiritually this. Or if you just want to be like, oh, my highest number was in my connection to spirit and my lowest was in my physical body or something, whatever you want to place in there. I just want to get a sense from the group. And again, we don't have time for a group share. I wish that we did. We normally do in our classes, but for today, for the purposes of being able to give you as much as I can during this time, I want to be able to have that interaction, but we'll have to keep it very concise. So if you can put it in the chat, that gives me an idea of what areas might be the most important for you right now in your life. And so if you've not used it, there's just a little chat function on your screen and you can click on it and then you can just type in. And again, if that doesn't work for you and we have time, you might be able to mute yourself at the end here and you can share anything you'd like. Nice. Thank you, Barbara. That makes it easy. I can see it all right there. Yeah. Nice. Okay. Thanks, Shannon. Okay. Thank you, Bree. Yeah. Nice, Bridget. You're at a 10 physically. Spiritually too. Woo, girl. It's awesome. And then 6 and 6. Well, you've got the balance. That's awesome. Great. Physical, emotional, spiritual. Okay, great. Thanks, Carolyn. Physical. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Thank you, Angelica. Cool. Okay. Good. Well, we are all across the board here. So that didn't help at all. I'm just kidding. But this is life, right? It's not going to be the same for anyone. We're all on a hero's journey, if you will. That's what I refer to it as, right? We're on this epic quest or this journey. But the twists and turns the journey takes, and the mental, emotional, physical, spiritual state of the main character can be all over the place. So this is great to see. It's good to see where each of you are, and that it really is across the board in different areas that you would benefit from. And this is actually goes to the point of why in Legacy we tap into all of these. I don't know how familiar you are with different, programs and bodies of wisdom. I know a lot of you because I've been able to have the great pleasure of walking beside you on the path. But oftentimes what I've noticed is that people will get very laser focused on one specific area, which I think is wonderful. When you want to be an expert at something, there's nothing like just like honing your skills in one area. But what I found over the years is that even though we use these as ways to gain some knowledge about where our current state is, we are not by nature compartmentalized, right? We're not just a mind or just a body or just a spirit or just emotions. We are this beautiful spectrum of the all of it. And so because of that, I feel very drawn to, in the work that I do, covering all of the terrain. Like, I don't know if you've noticed this. Some people are like, okay, just focus on working out and just like look great, be in shape, feel good. It's all fitness, right? Or you'll talk to someone else and they're like, oh, this is the secret to success or to life, is to be able to meditate for 13 hours without moving, like in a cave, ideally, or something, right? Or, other people are like, oh no, you need to be master of your psychological or emotional health, mental health, right? And so depending on who you're speaking to, they might say this is the key. This is the elixir of life. This is what you need to be able to live the most fulfilling life. And what I found, it's not the easy answer, but what I found is that we are the all of it. We did not come here to just excel in one area and completely ignore another that challenges us, or to, try to just hone in on one and then watch as the other ones kind of fall and then pull that one down, right? So when I worked at the Chopra Center, this was the first time I had really been exposed to the concept of mind-body medicine. That's what Deepak called it, the mind-body connection. And this was the first time in my own life as a student, as a spiritual aspirant, to think about that mind-body connection. It had been like, that's I think assumed for me in my life that there's a mind-body connection. But if you go into things like Western medicine, you can see that sometimes there is a shortage of honoring, acknowledging that connection between mind and body. And I want to even expand it more than just mind, body. And today we're just talking about mind, body, emotion, spirit, right? We're vast, we're infinite as these divine beings here having a human experience. But I want to widen the spectrum even just to speak of those four and to acknowledge the fact that we are on this incredible journey. And so as I have worked with people over the last 18 years or so, I've seen that a lot of the times people will be like so on point in their meditation practice, for example, but their physical body isn't something that they're real connected to. So they're experiencing symptoms in the physical body that they may address or they may ignore, but they're not living to their highest potential physically, but they can meditate like no other, right? Or I see people that are super fit, but they tell me time and time again, I can't meditate. My mind's too busy. I got too much going on. And again, I'm just using some of these examples. Or people are really connected to their emotions. They're so connected to how they're feeling, and they can feel the full range, and they can hold the space for themselves or for someone else. But when it comes to having mental discipline and being able to stop telling stories or severing ties with experiences or beliefs or patterns that don't serve them anymore, that might be something that's a weakness to them. That's not a strength in their toolbox. And so for me, I'm very, very inspired in my own life and in working with others that to realize, like, we get to experience the all of it. We are here to live to our highest expression, whatever that means. I am not going to tell you what that means for you because I would have no idea what that means for you. And as we're beginning this exploration, I invite you to have no idea what that means to you. Beginner's mind, being able to come to it anew. It's right when we think we know something that we're in big trouble, right? We're like, oh, I know. It's like, oh, do you? And the universe is like, cue the angels and the many lessons that will come today, right? And so we come to this work with great humility and reverence and say, I'm not sure. I don't know. Let's see. Let's find out. Let's have this curiosity to ask these questions, to go deeper. Can I experience myself more fully, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, right? Physically. And I had done that for a long time in my life. I felt very comfortable in the realm of spirit. Yes, awesome. I just hunker down and it's like reading a good book by a fireplace. The discomfort for me came in my mindset work that I needed to do, and being able to set healthy boundaries within myself and with other people of like where I was allowing myself to go, or the stories that I was creating, the drama that I would allow and cultivate and feed and perpetuate in my own life experience. And then also physically for me, and I'm just sharing my experience because, I don't mind being unmuted and sharing my experience, but you might right now feel a little timid to do so. So I'm just going to share my experience so we can have some sort of example, but this is not about me. This is about you. It's about each and every one of us being able to show up and live to our highest, most inspired potential, because we get to. It's like such a cool thing. Like, we're here, we get to have this experience. And so another area for me was physical. physical area of being able to challenge myself. I never thought I needed to do too much because for me, it came kind of easy. I never had a whole lot of physical ailments or problems. So it's just like, oh yeah, it's a body or whatever. When I started realizing what my body could do, it was quite incredible, right? Pushing myself past perceived barriers or blockages of who I was or what I could or couldn't do with my body. Trying things like surfing or boot camp or climbing to the top of a mountain. You know, it's like, whoa, I never really knew I had that in me or what have you. So pushing past what we think is possible and being able to experience our bodies and, you know, minds and emotions and spirits to its fullest. And so as I look at your numbers, this is exactly what I've been finding in the people that I'm working with, that most of the time there is room for us to cultivate and to grow into more, which is exciting. Again, it's not like, oh, we need to be all 10s all the time. But to me, when I see a 5, I'm like, woo, how exciting. Like, what's the journey from the 5 to the 10 going to be like? Like, that's so cool. It's not even like, oh, the destination of the 10. It's just like, oh, this is going to be fun to be on this journey and to see how we can grow into whatever this is even more deeply. Okay, so that's what the legacy work is all about. It's about, why would we just focus on leaving a legacy? I don't know, has anybody done that? Does anybody in your life be like, okay, so when I retire or when I get to this point in my life, then I'm going to, right? I'm going to start enjoying the XYZ. Like I've had this, I don't know if you have this, but I have this like Under the Tuscan Sun kind of like, I don't know if any of you have seen that movie or watched or read the book, but it's like this idea of like, oh yeah, like I watch something like that or read something like that. I'm like, oh yeah, someday I'm going to go do that in Europe. I'm going to do that. That's going to be I'm going to have this amazing experience, you know, this European adventure. And it's like, hold on. Why are you going to have that later? Do you know if later is even going to come? Because you could walk out of your door tomorrow with the best of intentions, have your mask on, be playing by all the rules, and I don't know why I want to say get hit by a bus, but you know what I mean? It's like you don't have control of what happens, right? And so then what happened to that dream that you had that you wanted to experience? And I see this a lot with students that I work with at different times of their life. Oh yeah, as soon as I get this, then I'm going to do this, right? As soon as I have this goal met, then I'm going to feel like this. It's like, well, if you want to feel like that, let's work on feeling like that now. Like, why not? What do you think that's going to bring you, right? So when you're looking at those numbers for each of you, if you're looking at those numbers and you're seeing like, okay, I'm at a 5 or 6, 7, 8, 4, whatever, 2, whatever, and a 10 would feel like this. What is it that you want to feel? So let's take the physical body because we all understand it pretty well. If I was to say like, okay, what are your goals? Oh, I would like to maybe lose some weight or gain some weight. I would like to be able to, you know, look good in my bikini. I don't know. I'm just giving you some on the surface kind of examples, right? If I ask you why, right? So you want to look good in your bikini. Why? Well, because I think that would, I don't know, I'd feel confident. Okay. Why do you want to feel confident? Right? And it's like, well, because then I'd feel like I'd feel comfortable in my skin and like at home in my body. And I'd feel like I could be out in front of other people or with other people. It's like, okay, and why? And like, you just keep going deeper and deeper. It's like, what does this person want to feel? What do they want to experience? And really it's like underneath all that, they want to feel a feeling of being accepted, of being loved, of belonging, being confident. And so it's not so much that they want to lose weight or gain weight or, right? It's more of like, what is it that we really want? And then imagine how that's going to feel. So how is it going to feel when you're comfortable in your skin and you have this sense of belonging and you feel accepted just as you are? You feel like you're rocking that bikini. Like, how does that feel? And then just be able to, oh, like, can you feel, I don't know if any of you could feel it with any of your goals, but you can start feeling it rise up. I start feeling it in my belly and then it moves up into my heart. It's like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. And then how can we start to connect to that energy and that vibration and start feeling that here and now, so that the possibility of that becoming a physical reality or a manifestation is exponential now. It's heightened because we've connected to the energy of what that is. But I also want to be careful here that we're not just doing a spiritual bypass and affirming our way to manifesting our destinies. And again, I'm not making fun of it because believe me, I've done my fair share. But it's, what are you going to do to get from here to here? It's like, okay, you start cultivating that feeling, that potential. You get to the deeper realm of why you want to experience it to begin with. And then are you willing to take the action steps, whether they're daily or weekly or monthly, in order to get there? And that's a very different story that when I've seen a lot in personal growth and development. And especially when you add spirituality to it, because there can be this idea that we can just slap a positive affirmation on it. It's like, well, that's nice. I like it. How are we going to, I'm a realist. So it's like, how are we going to get that to physically manifest then, right? So there's equal parts, being able to feel into it and the potential for it, but being willing to take the action steps, right? Am I willing to show up and do what it would take to put on that bikini or to feel comfortable in the body or whatever? Am I willing to do the inner work that it would take or the outer work that it would take in order to get there, right? So I've asked this question to many groups. It's like, when you look at that, the difference between where you are on the scale of 1 to 10 and where you'd like to be, and then asking, like, if it's not just a matter of a genie in a bottle being like, poof, here's your wish, are you willing to show up and do what it takes to get there? And that's what I find that a lot of people are struggling with. Is some of us might know what we want. And we might even kind of have an idea of how to get there, but maybe we lack the accountability or the motivation. Or on the other end, we might know what we want, but we have no idea how we're going to get there. And so in that case, we might be lacking the resources or the knowledge or the support to get there, right? And so in Legacy, I love to walk with small groups of people. That's what Legacy has been about, intimately working with 11 people at a time and following them on their journey, standing by their side as they go from where they are to where they truly know that they're meant to be in this moment, not some other time, not this like romantic idea that like, yeah, I'm going to leave behind this thing or I'm going to experience this thing later, but like, I'm actually going to live and breathe it in this moment. I'm going to show up and do the real work that it might take to do that. And it could be mindset work, for example. It could be you shifting a belief, like an affirmation might help you to do. But what I found is that even more powerful than just having the affirmation is powerful because it's the energy that you want to feel or experience. But it's going deep into the underlying factors of why you haven't experienced that yet, or why you haven't been able to experience that on a regular basis, right? And so sometimes there's underlying stuff that needs to be addressed so that that can actually take hold, if you will. Okay, so I know I'm putting a lot out there for you. My intention is that you'll resonate with something, one piece that might be important. Not that you understand everything as a concept, but it's this inner journey, this process that we go through, right? It's this process of really alchemizing in our lives, going from what is lead into gold so that we can experience ourselves to our highest and fullest. And so when we were answering the questions, for example, how many of you, just if you can put in the chat, just real quick, like how many of you felt like you had an answer to the question, who am I? I want to just kind of see, like, who am I? And we ask that question. It's like, yes, I have an idea. Oh yeah, absolutely. Or I have no idea. Or what was the question again? Like, just put it in the chat. I'm actually going to plug my computer in just one moment while you're doing that. Okay. Okay, Shannon has an idea of who she is. That's good. Great. Okay, good. Cool. All right, so I'll let you all kind of put those in there as they come up. But this question, who am I? Who am I? That in and of itself is such a deep exploration. Who am I? Now, who do we think we are? See, people ask oftentimes about the ego. What's the ego? You know, this thing that this elusive ego. And to me, it's pretty simple. The ego is who we think we are. It's not who we are, it's who we think we are. It's like the personality construct, right? This idea of who we are. Where when we can actually answer the question to who am I? And again, I don't even mean with words. Maybe you can't put that in the chat. Maybe you can't say like who you are in a chat, right? It's the experience of who you are. And then it's the experience of being able to share that, to bring that forward into your living legacy, into your expression here and now. So you'll shine, who you are will shine through. It's the essence of your being in every action and every inaction, in every moment, in every relationship in your life, right? Okay, so I think some of you are still working on answering that, but we'll come. Believe I'm a divine being having a human experience, struggling to remember and treat myself as such and behave in a divine manner. I love that, Carolyn, and behave. I'm doing my best to behave in a divine manner. Me too. That's awesome. I love that. That's great. Yeah. I love all these answers. This is beautiful. And again, there's no right answer. It's just that we find that answer within ourselves. Okay. But what better questions to be able to answer than who am I? What do I want? And what is my purpose? And I find that that is really the underlying question to most people's lives, whether they're asking it in that way or directly or indirectly. I believe that each and every being that is on this earth is looking for those answers within their life experience. Yeah. Great. These are awesome. So I'm going to come back to these, but you can all read the chats too, so you can see where other people are in this. So for me, I wanted to show you really quick. I'm going to share the screen. We're going to go into just a brief share about legacy and this journey, taking you behind the scenes. Can you see this okay on your screen? Yeah. Okay, so this is behind the scenes of our course, and part of this, the legacy course, is a 14-week exploration right into the very heart of who we are, what we want, and why we're here, and being able to actually physically manifest that into a tangible form and to live that, to live our legacy in each and every moment authentically, whatever that means to us. And so that means in all areas, in all aspects of our being, we feel like we are living at that 10, right? And again, you don't have to, it's not about, oh, well, I'm aspiring to be perfect. It's just saying, hey, I'm doing my very best in this moment to know that I am deserving of experiencing the totality of my being at this level. We raise the bar of our normal in our lives when we're in legacy. We do this together in a small community, as I mentioned, of 11 people. And we go through this week by week. And you're introduced to 11 allies. Okay, so we're not going to go too deeply into the allies. This is just a sneak peek. What I'd like to journey into is this hero's journey a little bit more. I'm going to expand this on my screen. Can you see the hero's journey there? Yeah. See that clearly? Okay, awesome. This is where I hope that we all are together. This call to adventure, right? You hear the call. Something is stirring within your soul, within your being, that is saying, I know there's more to me. I know there's more to life, and I want to experience it, right? There's this call to adventure. Usually there's, and again, this is from Joseph Campbell's work, and showing the arc of a story, any really amazing story ever told follows this beautiful patterning. Usually there's a supernatural aid. Whatever you want to call that is up to you. So maybe it's angels or masters or spirit or nature or universe, whatever. Usually there's something that you feel like is calling you, something maybe greater than yourself or your ego self with a small s, right? There's usually a threshold that we have to cross when we go to into the journey. We get called and then we're getting pushed, and we have to cross this threshold where the transformation begins. This is usually not very comfortable. And it's best to be able to do this with others, with the support, right? And this is what this piece is: helper, mentor. Okay. So if you've tried to reach these goals before, we'll just call them goals, right? Looking at your health, or looking at your mental well-being, or your emotional, or looking at your spiritual connection, or your connection to your destiny, your purpose, however you view it, maybe your relationships, maybe you want to have a different experience in relationships than you've been having, or a different experience in your career than you've been having. How many times have you tried, set those goals and tried to meet them and not met them? I mean, I can just speak for myself many times over and over again. And I found the times that I have the breakthroughs and cross that threshold is when I allow myself the assistance of someone who has already walked that path, right? So it's a mentor, it's a helper that comes along the way. When you're on your journey, there's going to be challenges. There's going to be temptations. They're built in. Like I said, the universe is like, up. Dial the angels up. Let's get those life experiences going. Let's get this hero and heroine on her way to what she's here to experience, right? So there's challenges, there's temptations that will, and temptations can be the craving of that the ego that might be like, no, I don't like this. This is challenging. I want to go back here. And so they might lead to temptations that distract us, that numb us, that we hide from, that we run from. We have all sorts of ways of doing this too. And then we come into this revelation of like, there's something more to me. There's something more to all of this. Once I get past those challenges, those hurdles, and those temptations, by walking right straight through them, not by running, avoiding, ignoring, denying that they exist. There's no opportunity for change in those circumstances, right? Where there's denial, there is no change. So you come into this revelation and you start to experience the death and rebirth process. So, for example, I'm going to use the process of that the butterfly and the caterpillar go for it, the metamorphosis that happens. So, in order for, let's go back up here, the caterpillar is just inching around eating. That's all it does. It was an egg. It was born onto the leaf, the perfect leaf that it needed for the nutrients that type of butterfly needs to survive. Like, you were placed right there. That's like symbolic of our formative years in the environment we grew up in. We were placed, that egg was placed exactly where we needed to be to have all the experiences, all the stuff that we were going to take in, like the caterpillar's eating, right? And then pooping too, eating and pooping, right? Taking it in, letting it go, like what serves, what doesn't, right? That's that formative years on the leaf. And then the caterpillar gets this calling all of a sudden inside of it, and it starts stirring, and it's like, oh gosh. And for a caterpillar, it's more instinctual. For us, we have free will. So we can start getting that call that like, oh, it's time to make some changes. And because we have free will, we can say no. But the caterpillar, it's instinctual. It's like, okay, call to adventure. And they got to cross this threshold. And they have this kind of assistance from the elements to be able to spin their chrysalis, because they have to spin the chrysalis so that they have a safe space to go through that process of metamorphosis, right? And so they'll come into this place of death and rebirth. You can't be a caterpillar and a butterfly simultaneously. I mean, we've tried, right? But what happens is everything that the caterpillar needs to become a butterfly is already programmed within the DNA. So the DNA for the wings is a part of the caterpillar. just like us. The DNA, or for our wings or our gold, it is within us, in our DNA. It's within our childhood experiences. It's within all the life that comes from that. But a lot of the times people are clinging on to still being the caterpillar because they're afraid to go through the process right here, death and rebirth. So Deepak used to say that the caterpillar, what he's doing inside there, or what she's doing inside there, is dying off unto herself or unto himself. And that's what the ego does. It like dies unto itself within that chrysalis, which is that mentor helper space. That in the safe space of that metamorphosis, there's that dying off of the old so that the new can be born. And that's what the rebirth is. That's the transformation. That's that symbolic moment where the caterpillar starts to emerge from the chrysalis, right? And so I'm just giving that as an example because it's something I think a lot of us know about, is that process. And so we're going through a similar process. And in that transformation, there's kind of that atonement or attunement to who we truly are. And then there's this return home in the hero's journey. There's this return home, but not before, if you noticed here, the gift of the goddess, or sometimes it's called the elixir of life. Right? Because on this adventure that we go on this journey, there's gifts that we receive along the way. And so when we return home, we are not the same as we were when we left. We have now returned home with the greatest gift that we could ever give, which is allowing our true essence to be able to shine forward within every living, breathing moment of our lives. So that means we come home with who am I, what do I want, and what is my purpose, and the conviction and the bravery and the clarity to be able to live that each and every day. So we go from the known into the unknown and then return again to the known, ever changed. Okay. So I just wanted to take you briefly on that journey. I'm so inspired by Joseph Campbell's work, which I didn't know actually before I created Healing from Within. I wasn't aware of Joseph Campbell. When I saw that map, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's healing from within. That's the process that we go through. And that even to the mentors, that's what we have. We have trained mentors that have walked that path, that walk others through the path, right? And so that was my first signature program that came through, was Healing from Within. Then I saw Joseph Campbell's work and I was like, oh my gosh, this is incredible. It's all depicted there. It's the greatest story ever told, which is your story. And then as legacy has come through in the last 2 years, it has just shifted the way in which that journey can be taken when people are ready to take those big leaps and bounds in their lives. Okay, when you're ready to live at a 10, when you're ready to take your flight, to be able to go through that journey in a sequential way, to be supported, to be held, and to be able to activate, which something that wasn't on that sheet there. When it says helpers, there's other charts of the hero's journey that says allies. And that's what in legacy, you meet 11 powerful allies. And when you activate relationship with these allies in the way that's authentic to you, right? This is not a course where I'm going to tell you how you should live your best life. This is a course where your best life is co-created through you. That means that you get to paint the painting. You get to be the co-creator, dance the dance, right? And it's going to look different for each and every one of us. And yet it's going to look the same in one way. It's going to be true. You know when someone is living in their truth. It just like exudes off of them, right? You're like, oh my gosh, what are you doing? This is amazing. You also know when someone's living small or scared or sick or whatever, right? And you know, I know what it feels like to live that. I'm sure you do too. Different times in life where there's parts of you that are wounded or are not feeling well or are not to its highest expression. And so legacy is about realizing that we are the main character of this epic story. And we have this opportunity, this life we've been given. This is a gift. And those challenges that we're facing, because I know we're all facing challenges. I know globally, there's a lot of challenges that are going on. And those are all opportunities for growth, right? Because they're going to happen regardless. In life, there is going to be challenge. I remember right before I became a mother for the first time, I was working with a doula, and she told me, she was like, listen, just so you know, like preparing me for birth, labor, and delivery, she said, it's going to be painful. And I was like, you're fired. What kind of doula just says that to you? What do you mean? You're supposed to be like, there, it's fine. You've got this. She's like, it's going to hurt like hell. And I was like, what is happening here? And she's like, but I'm going to just tell you a little something that I learned from the Buddha. She said, in life, pain, that's guaranteed. It's suffering that's optional. And I was like, whoa. In that moment, when she taught me the difference between pain and suffering, I realized that my mindset, going back to one of the earlier concepts we talked about, my mindset was in a story of suffering in a lot of areas of my life. And that was the first time I learned how to start working with my mindset to accept what is. That life is life, you guys. We go out there, and like I said, we don't have control of it. It hurts. It's challenging. It's difficult. It's dark. It's also awesome and light and happy and joyous and uplifting and inspiring. And like I said, the greatest story ever told. It's so cool. But it's the all of it. And I guess if there's one thing that I could say about legacy, is it's real. It's authentic. This is not, we're not putting on a spiritual mask. We're not ignoring spirituality and being like, I can just think my way through this whole thing or just power my way through physically. We're saying, oh my gosh, this is me. Like, I am all of this. This is incredible. All of it. The divine, the diabolical, the yin, the yang, the masculine, the feminine, the ups, the downs. It's like, we're the all of it. What a blessing. And what are we going to do with it? How are we going to express it? How are we going to be with it, dance with it, move with it, sing with it, so that we can live our best lives? And to me, this was a life-changing moment in my journey. 2 years ago, for those of you who know me personally, 2 years ago, my life looked very, very different than it looks today. Not better, not worse, very different. And even though there's been huge, even geographic changes, I'm not even just talking about that. I was living in Costa Rica. Now I live in Bend, Oregon. Okay, so you can look at, oh yes, so different, right? Hot, cold, tropical, and mountainous, right? You can look at all that. But what the deepest change that I have made is that I no longer feel fragmented and compartmentalized. I feel like I've taken this journey from the inside out, and I can truly tell you today, like if this was my last day, if this is my last moment and you were the ones I was with, oh my gosh, what a gift, what an honor to be able to share what has lit up my life and inspired me. And again, this is not about me. That's how I share, is from my experience. I'm not going to share from like in theory. I'm going to share with you from my experience. And I can tell you right now today, I feel joy in my relationships. I feel joy in my purpose / work, whatever you want to call it, my dharma. I feel joy in quiet moments and in loud rooms. Doesn't matter. So to me, to learn how to enjoy my life to the fullest was what legacy really brought to me. And a sense of contentment and gratitude for everything. All of it, the ups and the downs of it. I don't suffer any longer. I meet pain and go, oh, hello, my friend, my growing pain friend. I know that means growth is coming, right? And so I am honored to be here with you to share just a little bit of it, and hope that if there's one intention I have, it's just to inspire you, to light a spark, right? That you're lighting a spark within yourself today going, oh my gosh, maybe I could normalize like living to the fullest and widest and most expansive sense of self And that would be amazing. That would be okay. I'm worth that. And in me doing that, that helps and opens the door for others to do it, right? To be able to embark on our living legacy, not for someone else, but for us, because we can. You know what I mean? I don't know if any of you have seen the movie Soul. It's a sweet little Pixar film that just came out. And one of our me and the kids, like my son is hilarious at 6 years old. He thinks this is so funny. And I'm like, oh yes, I love it. Dry humor. But at one point, this little soul is walking this other soul through wherever you want to call it, heaven, wherever it is, the other realm, in before life or after life or whatever you want to consider it. And there's these like other little souls running around. Like this building falls over onto it. And he's like, oh my gosh. And the little soul's like, oh, don't worry. You can't crush souls here. That's what life on earth is for. And it's just like so good. And my son Kalea just cracks up every time. He's like, oh my gosh, that's what life on earth is for, you know? And it's just like that soul crushing experience that we have, right? But it allows us to be who we are. This earth is the academy. This is like, talk about the creme de la creme is like the Harvard of, like, this is where we want to get to have these experiences of growth. There's nowhere else where food matters, first of all. For example, like you love, think of the thing you love, like the taste, the smell, that's just here. Like, don't take my word for it, but I don't know if you were in 5th grade and ate any astronaut ice cream, but food up there doesn't taste the same. It's like all dehydrated and you have to like eat it in capsules or, whatever, And so to have a body to be able to nourish and to experience and all these senses and the relationships and all the experiences of life, to be able to have this human experience, what a gift, right? All of it. And what are we going to do with it, right? And so that's what legacy is all about. So I just wanted to share that with you. I'm just, let's see. Carolyn, life is made up of a series of choices, and the only thing that is constant in life is change. Yeah. Might legacy be the right choice for you? And is it time to change how you have experienced life? Have a great day, everyone. Have to go. Bye, Carolyn. We love you. Yeah, that's beautiful. Oh, that's beautiful. I'm just reading some of the chats. Sorry about that. All right. So that was our time together, but I just wanted to share with you how grateful I am to be here with each and every one of you. Usually our classes, like for Legacy, for example, it's an hour and a half, it's interactive. We have time to share, to be in community together, because I believe that's a huge part of how we heal and grow and transform and live our highest and best lives, is because we get to do so together, in a supported community, walking this path with other sisters and brothers along the way, and have support and guidance and clarity along that path. So I'm going to stay on for anyone that might have some questions, but I do want to leave you with this. If this has lit any spark within you and you would like to learn more or go further or see if legacy is for you, I am actually dedicating some time to having some one-on-one calls. And these calls are going to be complimentary. I'm setting them aside just for those of you who have been here, have shown up, and would like to take it a little bit further on maybe one of those aspects that you want to see some shifts, positive shifts, and again, lasting positive change, not just putting a Band-Aid on it. And we can go into that on a call. So if you'd like to get a legacy call, we'll make sure you have a link. You should get a follow-up to this, but if for some reason you don't get an email or the right link or something, just know that on my website, and I'll put that right here. Actually, I'm going to put the link right here just so you guys have you have access. You're the first ones to have access to this. I work with 11 people through the program at a time. We begin March 4th. It's 14 weeks. And as of right now, we have 7 more spaces left. Excuse me, let me get that link in the Legacy program for March. There will be one later in the year, but this will be the next one, and there's 7 more spaces. And if you're interested, we can do a call and see if it's a good fit for you. I like to make sure first that it's a good fit. and it was going to get you where you need to be. So here is the link for that. I'll drop this in the chat. Oops, to everyone. So that's the link right there. If you want to book a call, and you can grab some spots. They book up kind of quickly, but just let me know if you can't find a time that works for you. If they all get booked and you really feel called to speaking with me one-on-one, just feel free to send me a message, an email, however, just get in touch with me. And we can, here's my email. We can set aside a time for you. If you can't tell, I'm super passionate about people living to their highest and fullest. So that resonates with you. I am here for you. That's my email address. That's my personal email address. So if you have any further questions or want to book a call, let me know. And yeah, otherwise I'll stay on to answer any questions. And I just want to thank you so much for showing up, for being here. It's a great honor. And yeah, have a beautiful, blessed day, and let me know how I can support you on your journey.